Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last snap take of the Galactus First Steps season. I'm Glazer of Snap Judgments, and we have a number one player. The person who is very likely to end up number one is the person I told you it would be when he got to number two. It is Zunes, who apparently played for 13 and a half hours using the three decks we're going to talk about today to take the number one spot. The first deck that Zunes played is a Victoria Hand deck. The third is actually a Sizer list. Sizer is ranked 5 with that list. But the number two list was a surprise. It's a list that has only two high series cards, and it doesn't need either. Let's start with Zun's Magic Hand. So this is a standard Victoria Hand werewolf list. We've seen this around. I'm not sure if Zunes actually originated this version, but he definitely brought it back with America Chavez, now a 1+3. 1/2 that gives +3, and the now 4/5 Juggernaut in the list as a top meta deck. Turns out rumors of Juggernaut's demise were much exaggerated. Juggernaut remains, I think, probably the single best tech card in the game. Let's go through. First, if you want to find Zunes, we're going to say this twice this video. You can find him on twitter.com/Zunes0122. Two twos, not three twos. Sorry about that. This deck needs Hand, Werewolf, Misery, and Merlin. Victoria Hand and Frigga are obviously a combo to get multiple Victoria Hands, or multiple things that Victoria Hand can buff. Werewolf and Merlin are a combo. Merlin gives you a way to move Werewolf around without clogging your board. And then Misery is here for Hood, and Hood is the best Victoria Hand card in the game. Iron Patriot can be Kate Bishop. You do lose a lot. I think Iron Patriot might be the best card in Marvel Snap. See also yesterday's podcast. Nico can be Viper or Kate Bishop. All right, let's get started. The Hood's use here is fairly simple, right? You play Hood, you Misery it. When you Misery it, you get two demons. Those demons are 8 to 10 power. Because of Victoria Hand, they are lane winners. When you can pay what amounts to, at the end of the game, 2 energy for 20 power, that's a good way to win games of Marvel Snap. You can do that with Juggernaut, you've stolen some extra cubes. Now, the only backup way to get rid of the Hood in this list is Nico Minoru, so keep an eye out for Nico to be either the Destroy spell or the turn into a demon. Oh, I'm lying here. There's a third way. Excuse me. So those are the, that is one of the two ways. Merlin is the third way. Merlin can turn that Hood into extra energy, which I'll do on turn 5, but rarely earlier because drawing that extra demon that I might, drawing that extra Hood that I might get stuck with sucks. Or you can turn it into a 2-drop with Merlin, which is sometimes very, very hilarious. Sometimes you'll get like a Vicky Hand off that. Okay, America's just a buff card. She's a 1-drop that buffs cards. That could easily be Iceman or 10 other cards, but getting that +3 power is pretty good. Turning a Hood into a 0, turning a Mirage into a 6, a 1/5 Quinjet. +3 is just a lot, and Zunes is taking advantage of that, right? Getting 5 or 6 power on a card is very, very different. Excuse me as I suddenly start choking. Very, very different than having 2 or 3 power on a specific card. Nico Minoru has our answer for the Hood. It can also copy our Victoria Hand, copy a good cloned card from Victoria Hand, a good Mirage Hand, a good Iron Patriot Hand. Having access to location change gives us some extra play. I don't know if you've noticed, but Mr. Negative is kind of all over the place, and Nico is a negative nightmare. If you see that as negative Telltale cards, you want to hold Nico. Quinjet gives us some discounts. She's discounting the Iron Patriot Mirage card, the Victoria Hand card, the Frigga card, usually Victoria Hand. It's not a million hits for Quinjet, but it's good enough. It's good enough to get that extra little bonus. Very often in Victoria Hand decks, especially for running Moon Girl, Quinjet is one of the most important cards. Here, it's just a good card. Not a requirement, just a good card. It would not shock me if in a day we ended up cutting some ones from this, keeping Hood, adding Moira X, and then adding Killmonger. That seems like where this deck would go. Perhaps then we also add the lovely Firehair in one of those spots. That's the kind of thing I'm looking to do in a day, should you be curious where we're headed in the new season. Iron Patriot gives us 2 combos. One is the Burrs combo. The Burrs combo is where you play Hood on turn 1 or 2. As long as you have Misery, you can then play Iron Patriot and the Demon on that Hood lane. Turn 4, you drop Misery on the pile. That should give you a second Demon, a second Iron Patriot card, and a cheap first Iron Patriot card, which usually leads you to getting the second Iron Patriot card cheaper. It's an incredibly, incredibly powerful play pattern, one worth doing almost all the time when you get it. Obviously, outside of that, Iron Patriot's just a generally good card. On either turn 2, turn 3, or turn 4, you'll get a powerful card that's discounted. It puts a lot of pressure on opponents and gives you a potential snap condition. Merlin turns cards into better cards, right? Turning cards into better cards is nice. You have a lot of low power stuff that once it's done its job, it's sort of just there. Hood, America Chavez, Iron Patriot, Mirage are cards that you're happy to turn into something bigger. Frigga as well. You're happy to turn into something bigger. You can turn the lower cost of those into extra energy, especially going into the last turn. And you can obviously get rid of bad locations. Again, negative is everywhere. Merlin is at extra value because of that. Mirage is sort of like your poor man's Iron Patriot. It comes with a pre-built Victoria hand buff, so it can be really good. It's almost certain to give you a cheaper card, so if you don't think you can win the Iron Patriot, favor Mirage. Mickey Hand doesn't have a million things to buff, but her buff is so good it doesn't matter. You want to Frigga her. You can also Frigga the Demon. You can also Frigga the Mirage or Iron Patriot hit. Sometimes America Chavez will hit something amazing, and you can Frigga that too. From here, we have Werewolf. Werewolf is here as a combo with Merlin. It's fine without Merlin. You can do some Hood, America Chavez stuff with it, Iron Patriot Mirage stuff with it, maybe get some cards to use it. But when you get Merlin, Werewolf can be a lane-winningly big card all by himself. He is vulnerable to Shang. He is vulnerable to Shadow King, so keep those cards in mind as you're playing. But with less Juggernaut, Werewolf is in a really, really great place. Juggernaut's a lane winner. People aren't playing around him again, and if people aren't playing around him, he's this giant cube winner. And Misery is here largely for Hood, but don't be afraid to hit America, Iron Patriot, and Mirage as well. 9 power on that body is a really great place to be once more. Even if you're hitting a 3 power Iron Patriot, that's still 6 power worth of Misery, and the benefit you're getting from everything else is more than worth it. All right, so this is the best mid-range deck in the game right now. I don't think there's really much competition. It's this or the Invisible Woman deck that Safety built that will have to feature again relatively soon. But one of those two decks is, in my opinion, right now the very best deck in the game. Turn 1 for this list, you want Quinjet over Hood, which is more or less equal to America Chavez. Turn 2, you go Victoria Hand of Frigga over Merlin, over Mirage, over Iron Patriot. If you think you can win the Iron Patriot, you can move it up, but you don't have any huge Iron Patriot lane winners here. Apparently, I still have a negative list after Frigga Werewolf, so I will take you through that after. Yeesh. Yeesh. Last day of the season troubles. Frigga on Victoria Hand is the play on turn 3. You can go Werewolf otherwise, Burrs combo as delineated earlier, or a 2-drop. On turn 4, you want Misery for the Burrs combo. You are also very, very happy to, at this point, go 2+2. This is usually going to be your Iron Patriot turn. You're going to play something like Merlin and Iron Patriot, Mirage and Iron Patriot, sometimes even Iron Patriot and then Victoria Hand. In those circumstances, you want to make sure that the Victoria Hand is second in case you draw Frigga and want to Frigga that Victoria Hand. The turn after that, we're going to either go Hood Misery, or we're going to play Frigga and a 2-drop. Either of those two are fine. Sometimes that's Victoria Hand, sometimes that's an extra Mirage, whatever the case may be. Then turn 6, we want to ideally play a couple Demons and Juggernaut, but sometimes it's going to be like Merlin spell, extra things. Sometimes our turn 5 play involves Merlin giving us extra energy so that we can play everything we need with Juggernaut. This list is awesome. This is where mid-range lives in Marvel Snap right now. We're going to get to the next deck, but before we do, please hit that sub, leave a like, and leave a comment if you're willing to help us grow as we do our very best. It really helps us fight the machine algorithm, which doesn't seem to want to show our videos as much since we moved. So if you're willing to give that sub, like, and comment, it would mean a lot in helping to support the channel. Oh, we announced our last Galactus winner. We are now on to giving away. This is the first video where we'll be giving away a new Viv Vision. We're giving away 5 this week, so you have to do a sub, like, comment, and you are entered to win a Viv Vision. If you're so inclined to get that card for free, please sub, like, comment. I think you'll be happy with your chances to win. Every video this week will carry a Viv Vision in the comments. Our Galactus winners, by the way, we've only had one person claim it, are in the... Our Galactus First Steps winners are in the community posts of this channel. We also have a custom card contest. If you've ever been inclined to do custom cards, if you want to have the materials to make your own Marvel Snap cards, check out our Discord. It's linked in the description to this video. We have weekly rounds with fun themes and keywords, a rating panel of judges, and a bunch of team events planned. So if you're interested, please join our Discord and check it out. I think they're really fun, and you'll enjoy it if that's your kind of jam. All right, this is the low CL deck that is tearing up. This is Zun's version of Cerebro 3. This is the first deck I saw that was like, oh wow, this low CL thing is dominating high infinite, right? This is an incredibly powerful list. I think Cerebro 3 is in an incredible, incredible spot. This is another one that might be just throwing a Moira X in there because why the hell not? It's another way to get an extra Cerebro without any extra work. But I think this list is gross, like straight up gross. I think Cerebro 3 is probably the best. And what makes it really, really effective is that we've got Quake, we've got Killmonger, we got Negasonic, we got Cosmo, we got US Agent, we got Luke. So we have 6 different tech cards. And I don't think I count the Scarlet that go with this giant power buff, right? If we're playing just a Quake that's a 6 power, that's amazing. If we're playing a Quake that's a 9 power, that's broken. So that's what the power of this list is. Same, you can find zones at the same place as before. I don't think you actually need anything. For Jeff and US Agent, you can kind of run anything. Ghost Spider and Multiple Man, Cobra, Gorgon, K Bishop, Blade, and Swarm. You can also go like just a little more expensive and run a Shang-Chi or a Valkyrie, both of which have 3 power. All right, so Bast is here. For Cassandra, Northern Scorpion, at least pre-infinite, but post-infinite, it's largely here to hit Cerebro and Mystique. Making Cerebro and Mystique 3 power is really, really, really strong. Next up, we've got Jeff. Jeff gets you into some tough to mess with locations. Turns out 6 to 9 power. It usually wins a Sanctum Sanctorum, for example. Quake is your other way of winning that kind of location. You can build up some power. You can then move things around. Really, really strong with like destroy locations on the last turn, or all of a sudden your opponent's thinking they're going to get into that, just thinking that they've won that destroy location, or that they can't really compete, and you Quake that into a location that you auto win, and they auto destroy half their board. Scarlet Witch is incredibly strong. There's a bunch of bad locations. Scarlet Witch says nope. Sometimes she's going to betray you, changing a bad location for a bad location. That's fine. If there is a location that is, if no locations are bad, do yourself a favor and don't play Scarlet Witch. Sentinel here is just a repeatable 3. Repeatable 3 is a good thing to have in a Cerebro deck. You're often getting like 9 energy for 2, and so you want to do that as many times as you can. US Agent is your big card set card. He's why you don't have to run Shang-Chi. Basically, if your opponent's dropping some big stuff, some Nimrods, whatever, your 9 power US Agent tends to go over the top in that lane. Cerebro Mystique, they're the big buffs. Luke Cage protects you from the negative locations, so that means you can try and save Scarlet Witch for the positive locations, the +1 power after each turn, the +5 power for each card here. That's Scarlet Witch, the negative locations, -1 after each turn, the just -2, -3 locations, Luke handles those. And remember, Luke in any lane will handle that in every lane. Luke's also decent hit with Bast. Cosmo protects you from enchanters, from your rogues of the world, but also can just ruin opponents that are trying to do things like Hela. Victoria Hand can occasionally compete with power. They're versions that get 2, 3, 4 Victoria Hands. Killmonger says, okay, I'm glad you did that, but now you don't have any demons, so bye. And then, of course, Negasonic blows up an opponent's card. Really, really good, especially now, given that Iron Patriot is so damn strong. This is the cheapest rank 1 deck I think I've ever seen. Turn 1 Pass or Bast if Cerebro or Mystique. Turn 2 Sentinel, Scarlet Witch if you already have one of those locations that you need to. Turn 3 Cosmo or Negasonic over Luke. Turn 4 we want to go 2+2. Usually that's a Sentinel and another 2. This is a good spot to Scarlet Witch now that you've seen all locations. Turn 3 Killmonger, Cosmo, Negasonic. One of your 3s that best fits the board, plus a 2, US Agent or Quake. That can be the turn you play Cerebro. If you do play Cerebro on turn 5, make sure you play it second, so that if you draw Mystique, you can play Mystique first on 6 with another 3. The relevant control card would be your other 3 here. We're looking at Killmonger, Cosmo, Negasonic. We're looking at Luke sometimes. We're looking at Quake or US Agent for big cube gains. That's it. This list is completely strong, completely wild, and stupidly effective. If you want just simple games of Marvel Snap, if the meta's kind of driving you nuts, this is a list I strongly urge you play. One of my friends, BitTwiddle, hi Bit, messaged me and was like, I'm just bleeding cubes, playing a bunch of mid-range stuff. What do I do? And I think that this kind of list is exactly where you want to be into that meta. It just says, I don't care what silly nonsense my opponent's doing. Unless my opponent completely goes off negative or Hela, I'm perfectly capable of winning. Your Cosmo even gives you some extra play into that kind of matchup. Please come check me out on twitch.tv/PulseGlazer, where I will be live for the new season. I'm hoping to stream my Infinite Grind. If you want to watch, come to twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. Next up, our season pass question. How did you end the Galactus First Step season? I ended at about rank 2500, my lowest in well over a year. Turns out moving to Vietnam and playing at odd hours while I'm completely exhausted has not done especially well for my rank, but I felt like I still had a fairly successful season. Almost all of my cube bleed was trying out a bunch of new card decks, streaming largely on new cards and weekends. So a lot of my win rate was actually really, really good outside of just bleeding cubes with whatever new deck I tried to play for new cards. So apparently my old brain is good. My new brain is too sleepy to really succeed. Let me know how you did. Let me know also how many of the new cards you got. There were a whole lot of new cards last season. I'm curious how many you purchased. Our final deck, the last deck that Zunes used to hit rank 1, was Sizer's Fantastic Bounce. And again, Sizer has been playing varieties of this at rank either 4 or 5 on the Infinite Leaderboard currently. He's absolutely beasting out with this list. And now Zunes has hit number 1 with it. This has been also my most successful list of the season. Just for the record, Sizer has cut Kyra, but You don't have to. Kyra is still really, really good. There's still enough Killmonger around, even if Negasonic is less popular. Gladiator is less popular, so on. You can find Sizer at switch.tv, so Sizer2645. Zunes is at the same place he's been for the rest of the video. This deck needs Sage, Nico, Joaquin Torres Falcon, and Toxin. Those are your non-negotiable cards. Nico, I used to be like, you can replace that in Bounce, and then whenever I play Bounce without Nico, I strongly regret it. It has so many different options. Silver Sable here can just be Hawkeye without too much trouble. Sizer was trying some more expensive stuff because you're running 5/1s there, but I really like the extra one. I think the extra one, in particular with Joaquin Torres, is very, very useful. Agent Venom can be Bast. You do want something to set power to 3. You can try Silver Sable for Bast 2 if you want to and own Agent Venom. I like Agent Venom's 5 power a lot. I think Bast is a really, really big drop. Kara is the least important of the cards. Frigga, Mobius, Juggernaut, any of those are perfectly acceptable replacements. Frigga has been, I think, the best of those thus far, because what you can do is you can do like Sage on 3, Frigga it, and then you can do some bounce of the original Sage on turn 5. If that was Beast, you're now in really good shape to win that game. So like, I don't know. There's some value here. There's some value here in Frigga. Mobius, if you're worried about all the negative everywhere, there's options for that spot. Shadow King if you're so inclined. All right, so the hood is here. You want multiple demons, one of your win conditions. You have like, all right, Sage is 1 lane 1, right? Sage is a lane winner. She is 1 win condition. Your other lane, you're trying to use either multiple demons or Joaquin Torres, Rocket Raccoon, Silver Sable, etc. abuse. If either one of those is fairly likely to win your games. So one of the ways you get multiple demons is you play it on Joaquin Torres. Another way is you just keep bouncing it, use Falcon, Toxin, and Beast to just keep playing Hood. Multiple demons are obviously incredibly strong, 6 power each for 1 energy. If you just play 3 demons, that's 18 power. With Sage, which is very likely to be like 12 power, you probably won that game. You don't want Hood to end the game on the board. You've got Nico to help with that, or you can just bounce it and not play it the last time. Once in a while, you'll let it be in a throw lane, but since you're not running Bishop or Hitmonkey, that's less likely to matter. Silver Sable plays generally as a 1/2. Silver Sable on Joaquin Torres often kills a card. Very few cards are still good with -4 power. That is the use of that card. If they play the -4 power card, you just play Silver Sable as a 1/8. That's a good place to be. That's why she's in the deck. That's why she's so good. She's not pivotal despite that, because Hawkeye means that you don't have to deal with any extra bullshit. You often end up with just a 111 or so. So, there is some up and down there. Rocket is very often bigger than 111. He is a lane-winningly, stupidly huge card. Turns out that when you Frigga, Rocket ends up often being the best Frigga target. You could spend turn 4 going Rocket and Frigga and just sort of go to town with like 9 power rockets, and then the last turn you get to make yourself 14 to what's it called, 18 power rockets and win the game that way. Iceman is stupidly disruptive. You play it on Joaquin Torres and they just can't play any cards. It's really, really nice. Even if you don't play on Joaquin Torres, several Icemans is still super strong. Nico gives us copies of things. Think Sage, Rocket, largely, sometimes Sable, sometimes demons. Turns that Hood into a demon, turns that Iceman into a demon. Pretty good. Can use Falcon, Hood, Iceman to draw. You don't usually want to draw off your other stuff. Be careful of using that draw if you have Kyra. I've made that mistake where I'm like, I'm going to blow up that Hood. Nope, Kyra's out. Have fun. Joaquin is amazing for Iceman and Sable and Hood early, Rocket late. Pretty good with Nico, but not as good as you would think. The +2 is really nice. The double Nico is nice, but like they're not lane winning or game winning. They're just nice bonuses to have. Doesn't do anything with the Destroy or Demon, for the record. Toxin plays almost always as a 2/8. We're happy to have a 2/8. That's amazing stats. 2/8 that sets up our game plan is great. Falcon goes really great with Joaquin Torres Falcon. Basically, you play these, you can fill him up with 1s, and then you can get him off without any trouble. Falcon ends up being as good here as he has literally ever been. Agent Venom has almost all good targets. It's bad for Kara, it's bad for Beast. Everything else it hits is amazing. Hood being the best as a +6 bonus, and now you can leave Hood on the board. Really great, obviously, also for Sable and Sage. The zeros are what you really want to hit with this. Don't prioritize them if you've drawn all 3 of those cards. Sage is your big lane winner. Sage twice is one of the strongest cards in the game. Sage once is great, but Sage twice is one of the strongest cards in the game, and just an auto lane win a lot of the time. Obviously, be wary of Cerebro, where Sage is significantly worse, but outside of that, you should be good to go. If you're playing against Cerebro and you need Sage, A, you're going to run a fair amount, but B, you should be trying to play Sage on a lane where you have multiple different costs. Like if there's Cerebro 3, try, and you have like a 1/1 Rocket there and a 1 -3 Hood there, etc. That's a good place to play that Sage, and then you can bounce it and do that kind of thing again. Kara says, I don't care about Killmonger, Negasonic, Shang often, that kind of thing for most of the cards, power cards in the deck. Really great place to be. Again, not a requirement, but very good. And then, of course, we have the Great Beast, which is the most important and powerful card in the game, in the deck. One of the most important, powerful cards in the game. Bounce your ones, make them cheaper. Bounce everything, make it cheaper. Turns out a 3/5 that makes your last turns completely wild and unpredictable is an amazing card. Beast remains one of the best cards in the game and my personal favorite Marvel Snap card. Turn 1, Sabler Iceman over Hood, unless you don't have a 2, in which place you'll play a Hood, so you can go 1/1 on 2. Turn 2, Agent Venom over Joaquin Torres Falcon, and you can reverse those if you've got your zeros in hand over a +1/+1. Turn 3, we want to go Sage to bounce it, or we can play our first bounce. We can also play cards on Juan Torres Falcon if we have Falcon in hand. Turn 4, we want ones and bounce. Sometimes this is going to be 1 and Sage to set up a Sage bounce if that bounce is Beast. We particularly want to bounce Sage with Beast on turn 5. We don't want to bounce it necessarily, otherwise the board gets janky. Turn 5, ones and JTF. Ones and JTF, or JTF and Beast, or ones and Beast. Combo as you will. Sometimes we'll play Falcon or Toxin on this turn if we don't have Beast. That's totally fine. It just makes our last turns a little jankier. Turn 6, all the ones and Sage, and then we win. I always wonder if Agent Venom could be our friend, what's her name? Our friend Black Swan here, but what are you gonna do? Either which way, I think that this list is probably is my favorite list of Marvel Snap right now. Probably no probablys about it. I absolutely love it. It beats almost everything. It competes just on sheer points and unpredictability. No tech outside of, I guess, Nico changing an occasional location. Just win on points. It can not easily, it can often compete with things like Hela on points. Yes, you're going to lose to negative unless you get the Nico going. But outside of that, this one is absolutely a killer and one of my favorite lists. The third and final of the list Zoom's used to rank 1. Question of the day is from Thrillho. I've been meaning to ask since you moved. What's that box with the crossover diagonal lines over your left shoulder? Is it a wine rack or something? Just curious. Right there. So you're looking. I believe that's a wine rack. I'm 99% sure that's a wine rack. I don't know. I've got no expertise. It came with the apartment. We'll see if we're staying in this apartment. I think we're planning to leave around November or December. This is a little further from the city center and where everyone else lives than we were planning to. And the landlords haven't been the most helpful human beings ever in terms of like getting things fixed and organized. So we're probably leaving again around November, December to move a little closer to the town. But yeah, that's what that wine rack is. Although I'm gonna miss the wonderful, wonderful lighting of this apartment. This is very well lit. If you're interested in seeing some gameplay and my time has been working for you, check out the stream team. Today is Monday, so at 7 p.m. we have Gregor2424 who should be live. And finally, if you're interested in checking out our Patreon, patreon.com/snapjudgments, it's a wonderful way to support the channel. And our top tier patrons get thanked on every video. Thanks to Jonesy Snap 22, Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, It Regardless, LAB Inc., I Am Frostman, Hotel Nevedete, Prime Ryan, Ryan Burke, and Ryan Wood Snap. Renwrench, Gopher Kev, Keltor, Caretix Lee, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Profros, The Goat Seeker, Code, Hollowed Synth, Fat Nick, Absolute Shannon, Dirty Casual, Dark Moogle, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philly, Hablo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Bezza, Black Jeebus 23, Extra Sweet, and Skippy G, Rhyming Friends, Jessica Campbell, Hey Jess, Slush Death, King of Bros, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kipsy Hoda, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Sylvan, David Moo Wingfield, Stephen, Brian Kaufman, Justin H. Martin, Jason B, Matt V, Corin, Junk U, and Jimmy Miku, Yist Out, Ace Sage, One Big Bad, Cactus, Jack, Reapser, Steve O, 131, Yo Marco, Ted Pro, Quid Pro, Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Pickety, Boom, Ba, Bricks to Click, Green Goblin, Unibot V2, Flan 56, Spectrum X, Hoot, Only Fox, Matt H, DJ Mac Hedgings, No Freaking Flex, Nick, The Greek Geek, Toxic Soul King, Sajik 74, The King of Canada, JJ, Denman, Falcon, Fafler, Newman, Two Ties, Great Light as the Parking Tucker, and of course, Gunny T. The T stands for Tomorrow is the New Season. Get ready for a bunch of new decks. We've got 4 new cards coming out, so there will be an abundance. I think 5, actually. We've got way too many new cards coming out tomorrow, so there's going to be abundance of new decks. Get excited. I'll have the best for you immediately. Peace.